the first time I saw Kizomba, I was actually turned. I wasn't turned off by it, but it didn't appeal to me. And in retrospect,
You're
knowing
not the
what I
first
know
person to
now,
say that to me. Yeah, I feel
yeah, the first time that I saw it, and knowing what I know now, what I saw was bad Tarashinya.
Ah,
Um,
okay.
so
That's two different things. So okay.
it is two different things, yeah. So I was at the Dallasville Chocolate Festival.
Hey everyone, on today's episode of Tulsi Podcast, we had on the amazing Mr. Charles Ogar, who is the creator and founder of the NeoKiz Festival. In this episode, we talk about his childhood, what got him into dancing, his beginner stage, as well as hints and tips on how to improve your leading and your following. A great episode with an amazing individual. Let's jump right into it.
Hey, all right. So I am now on the line with a Mr. Charles Ogar, aka Mr. NeoKiz.
That is correct.
Hey, so you are a full-time professional international Kizomba instructor, Afro Latin Dance Instructor. You are the CEO of Neo Kizomba. You're an entrepreneur, and you're also a podcast host. Is that right?
That is correct.
And if I'm not mistaken, you were born in Houston, Texas, and currently living in, or born in Texas, I guess I should say, currently living
Yes.
in Texas.
Yes, born in Texas, currently living in Texas. I was born in Lubbock, Texas, where Texas Tech is, and apparently my dad was not studying. So
Sure enough, I get you. How are you? How you doing today, Mr. Ogar?
I'm doing all right. And yourself? Thank you so much for having me on. It's been a
Oh,
while since I've been interviewed, but it's good. I think it's good to be on the other side of the
yeah,
road, because as you know, I have my own podcast as
of
well,
course. Was it
and we
dancing
should
on
probably
fire?
do. Um,
Something on
There's
fire.
Dance Your Heart on Fire podcast,
Right,
and I'm going to go ahead and put it out here on the line. We should go ahead and do a flip, and I interview
right.
you on my podcast,
Ooh.
and you get to talk about your story and why you're doing the podcast. But I'm not going to interview you on your own show, but
Hey,
that needs to happen.
I like it, bro. But you also have another podcast too before Dancer Heart on Fire. You had
hmm
what was it? A salsa one or what was it?
It was a salsa one. So
Stumbled across.
before. Yes, so the story behind that is I started a podcast and it was mostly highlighting salsa dancers because I was into the salsa. And then that was called the I Love Latin Music
Oh
podcast.
no.
And then I found out about Kizomba and I'm like, man, Kizomba's dope, but it's not Latin. So I changed that to like, ooh, I love AfroLatinMusic.com.
Oh no.
Um, and then Kizomba took over. So then that just gave birth to Neo Kizomba. But I have tried to move like those legacy podcasts over from I love AfroLatinMusic.com to Dance Your Heart on Fire, which is going to be a full scope of partner dance overall and not just Afro Latin rhythm. So it's going to include zouk and blues and tango and all that kind of stuff as well, you know?
That sounds legit, bro.
Mm.
I'm very. I want to start with this though, Charles. I'm very curious to hear about your childhood, man. And, growing up in Houston. And I think you also said you moved to New Jersey, man. Tell me about your
Mm.
childhood, man.
So if we could talk about the geography to start off with, I was born in Lubbock, Texas, and then I started school in New Brunswick, in New Jersey, and I was there through fourth grade, and I started fourth grade again back in Austin. In Austin, I was in there from fourth grade to eighth grade, and then I started to live in Houston for ninth grade, and
Okay.
then I was in Houston from my ninth grade year, which I believe was 1998, because I graduated class of '02, and it's crazy that's about to be 20 years,
Yeah, man.
2 years.
So yeah, I was 7 years old when you graduated high school, man. Is that right?
Yeah. Hmm.
Oh wow, man.
So 2002 is when I graduated high school, and then I moved to Austin in 2015, and I've been here ever since. So
Okay, okay.
about 4 years now.
Mm. And so I'm curious, say you're growing up, moving around a little bit, man. I guess what were some of your childhood hobbies as a child, man?
It is very interesting you ask that question. So, I didn't do too much. I wanted to do more extracurricular activities, but there was a barrier, and I will let you know that barrier. That barrier was being an on-call babysitter because I was the oldest of eight.
Oh wow, you had a big family, man.
So again, um, I'm not sure what my parents did in their free time, but obviously their actions speak louder than words. But but yeah, I'm the oldest of eight. There's me and my big brother at the top, and then all four girls came, and then there's two boys at the end. We're all out of high school now, so the majority of them live in Houston, but I'm living in Austin, and so I couldn't do too many extracurricular activities because with that many kids, extracurricular activities they cost money when they
Got you.
start to get to a certain level. So of course I had things that were free like playing basketball or going to the local pool or things like that. There was this one program that I started when I was young, which was my first introduction into dance. It was actually in Austin, and it was called Believe in Me. And I don't know it exactly. So this is my adult brain trying to make sense of what happened as when I was a child. I think they had dance interns from a college university come and teach choreography to low income schools. And with that choreography, they made a show out of it. And at the end of the year, they took that show to an event center and put on this weekend event. And the proceeds from that event, I think, got back funneled into the school district or something along those lines. Again, that's just my adult brain trying to like make sense to what happened. But yeah, that was my first introduction into dance. I actually got selected to be in like a more higher level group of that called the SWAT team, and they were like
Right.
everybody like looked at the SWAT team because they come in, they have the harder choreos and things like that. But the practices for the SWAT team were on Saturday mornings, and my parents couldn't take me to the SWAT team practice,
Oh,
so I never got a chance to indulge in that when I was a child. I always wonder what would have happened with my dancing if I had
yeah,
started that from like a more serious level at a younger age.
yeah.
But since I couldn't make the practices for dance, I kind of switched my focus to music, and I started playing the saxophone and the piano and the flute throughout the rest of my elementary and middle school years. I also dabbled in a little bit of tennis. And then in high school, I didn't do too much extracurricular activities, mostly because at that time we had moved to Houston because my dad started a business. And a lot of my free time after school was going back to the shop to help out my dad. So they didn't
Okay.
really give a lot of time for extracurricular activities, but I was a part of the speech and debate team for a year, and that was pretty cool. And yeah, that's pretty much what I did as a child. I was definitely fascinated by sports and music and dance, but then of course, like due to life logistics, you don't have this personal autonomy
Right.
as a child, and you have to kind of like do what you're able to do with the
And
cards that you're dealt.
yeah, man, definitely understand that, man. I'm very curious to hear, man. I guess looking back on your childhood now as an adult, how did growing up with so many siblings? How did that affect you, man?
I had to definitely mature a lot faster. There is a part of me that feels like I didn't really have a childhood because I had to be put into like, hey, you have responsibility now, and other people are dependent on you. Which is why I don't feel no regrets about traveling and partying and stuff like that with the lifestyle that I have now. I feel like I'm making up for lost time a little bit. Um, but yeah, it definitely taught me responsibility and discipline, and I mean, bottle feeding, changing diapers, helping out with homework, um, all that kind of stuff. Because obviously, if you have that many kids, and both of my parents um, had to hustle, so they both had full-time jobs, working nights, working days, and stuff like that. So if one of them weren't home, they depended on me to kind of hold down the
Right.
household.
Yeah. That's intense, man. That's
Mhm.
definitely intense, yeah.
I mean,
So
I don't regret that. Yeah, so I don't hold any anger at my parents for that. I mean, it is what it is at that particular point. Everything happens for a reason, but that's definitely what happened, and so that's why I'm kind of really glad, and I have a lot of gratitude for my current position of being able to like play and do what I love and also make money for it at the same time, you know.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome, yo. So yeah, you're growing up and everything, and I guess I'm curious to know, what happens once you graduate high school? Like, do you go to college or like,
Mm,
or
awesome question. So in middle school and in high school, since my dad is Nigerian and like school is a big thing, a theme for them, education, you have to be smarter than everyone. Um, I definitely was put in the magnet program or the higher level magnet classes and to graduate with extra credits and honors and all that kind of stuff. So a foreign language elective was definitely required for that. So I took Spanish throughout middle school and I took Spanish all 4 years of high school. And so, little known fact, when I started dancing salsa, I already had like a base vocabulary from high school and things like that. But I've been fluent in Spanish for the last 10 years.
nice, that's
Um,
awesome.
so I'm actually going to be teaching in Guadalajara at the end of August. I'm really excited for that to go teach in
Hey,
Spanish.
hey.
But I started college and I was at a community college. I wasn't sure exactly what I wanted to do. My dad wanted me to be a doctor. I already had kind of a natural knack towards IT things. And kind of like my dad was a PC technician, so he was always like having spare computer parts around the house and all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of like the household that we grew up in, very kind of like tech friendly with Windows 95 and Windows 98 and all that kind of stuff that came out when I was younger. Um, and so I start college at the community college and I meet this girl. Her name is Erica and she's from Puerto Rico. And of course, she's in love with salsa and Celia Cruz. And I believe around that time is when Celia Cruz passed away. And so she was kind of like sharing that culture aspect of like being sad because she represented their
She was
culture and
big. She was huge,
she
man.
was huge. And so she actually, we got closer through our classes and our studies, and she actually burned me a CD of some Celia Cruz and some salsa songs, you know. And obviously, she was cute, and I wanted to impress her. So I started taking salsa classes at this local club in Houston called Club Tropicana that is still open to this day
Hey, nice. That's awesome.
on the corner of Richmond and Fondren. If you know from Houston, you know what I'm talking about. But
Shout
yeah,
out,
that's
shout
like
out.
a lot of people came through there with Club Tropicana. It's been open for years and years and years and years. But that's where I kind of first started dancing salsa. And with my Spanish skills that I had already, getting to know Latin women and Latin music and just Latin classes. And then I got connected into the dance community and like the congresses and festivals and weekly classes and guest instructors and all that kind of stuff. So that was kind of like my first introduction to salsa. And but I fell in love with it because it brought back those memories from when I was younger with dance. I was like,
Okay,
"Ooh, I'm an
right, right,
adult
right.
now. I have a little bit more personal autonomy now. I'm gonna freaking dance."
Hey,
And
hey.
so I started dancing salsa 4 or 5 times a week. I started traveling to different festivals around Texas and things like that. And that's how I kind of like re-sparked my love for dance that I kind of got redirected from when I was younger.
I get you, man. I definitely wanna get into, all that, man. But
Hmm.
I really wanna hear about this, man.
Sure.
Tell me, what was it like growing up in with Nigerian parents in a Nigerian household, man? What was that like?
So it was mostly my dad is Nigerian, my mom is American, but my dad ran the household for sure. Um, in the household, it was definitely stricter than what I see from like most American families. I'm not sure how many Nigerians are listening or Americans listening, but like for my Nigerians or African parents are listening, their parents, African parents can be pretty strict. You can't go out and party. You have to focus on your studies, all those kind of things. So, and then also with my dad having a business, I had to work for him as well. And so through all that, I learned the value of hard work. So, I mean, you can kind of see my work ethic through my bio, just seeing everything that I'm doing.
Right,
Um,
right.
and so it wasn't like the kumbaya household. We're gonna hold hands and let everybody do what they want to do, and that has its own journey or story in it with itself. But Definitely, if I'm focusing on the positives of my childhood, I would say that I definitely walked away with responsibility, work ethic, and kind of like with my dad being a business owner, that kind of like implanted the possibility from a young age that I don't have to necessarily go to college and get a normal 9 to 5 job and things like that. And that is why I did not finish college. So I don't have a college degree. Um,
Okay.
I dropped out mostly because of financial reasons. A year and a half in, I just started working and started getting IT certifications, and that was able to get me good enough jobs to kind of like pay the bills and get things done.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was kind of like what I believed in back then, and it's crazy because now that trend has just kind of exploded to where lots of millennials and them are looking at college and looking at the debt that you incur, and it's like, man, that is something to definitely take your time to consider if that's something you really want to do. And if you're not sure what you want to do yet, then you don't need to pay $20,000 to not know what you need to do
Right, right,
or what
right.
you want to do, you know? And so like I have some of my friends that are my age now and they talk about that weight of their college student loan debts, you know? And so that's definitely something serious. It's not something that I personally believe in. Um, that's a whole nother topic in itself, as far as education and entrepreneurship. But yeah, like I would say because of my dad, I definitely opted and I gave me the confidence to be an entrepreneur, um, more so than I would if I didn't have for sure.
I definitely understand that, man.
Hey kid, come here. Hey, if you could leave a like and subscribe, that would be amazing for the channel. Let's get back to the
I
show.
definitely understand that, man. I definitely did, bro. I'm right there with you, man. So I went to school myself and I graduated.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that whole thing about student debt. I definitely
For sure.
understand that, man. Yeah, yeah. So so you say you meet this lovely Puerto Rican and you
Yes.
start taking salsa classes, man. I'm very interested to hear, man. Tell me about your beginner stage in salsa, man. What was that like?
Um, so my beginning stages in salsa, I had a lot of fun. I loved the music, the Spanish culture, meeting Spanish people. They're very warm, very different from your American culture, you know? So they're very warm, they're family oriented, they like to have fun. And it's interesting because you can meet like little kids and like dance cumbia with your aunt or something like that. When you're like looking at the household unit of things, and that's something that I didn't grow up with, you know. And I think that's something that's rare among African Americans in general, or dare I say Africans. That it's like there's not a close unit of partner dancing per se at large.
Is
Of
that
course,
is that is that Nigeria maybe? Nigerian maybe or
I will say for the continent of Africa
'Cause I'm thinking
because,
what about Angola? Isn't Kizomba very close or what?
and that's the only African country.
Okay.
Well,
So
one of the very few African countries, and Angola is a polyp country, which means it's a Portuguese-speaking
Portuguese,
African
right,
country.
right, right.
But it's interesting because all of these partner dances have African roots. But when you take a look of the continent of Africa over at large, like when you go to a Nigerian party, there's no partner dancing.
Mm.
There's no partner dancing in Ghana or Egypt or Ethiopia. They have
Okay.
their solo dances, you
Right,
know,
right, right.
but they're not necessarily partner dancing. I can talk on that subject for an hour, literally. So you
I
can
get
let me
you.
know when you want me to stop. But again, pulling it back into my story, um, there's not a lot of partner dancing that I was exposed to, and I feel like a lot of Black people aren't exposed to.
I can agree with
However,
that myself.
we have influenced a lot of the current existing popular global partner
Of
dances
course, of
of
course.
today. Whole phenomenon across that, very interesting. I'm gonna like do a documentary or something like that because I
That'd be
can't seem
cool.
to let that topic go. Um, but yeah, so my beginning stages of salsa, I was really, really enthusiastic to like keep learning and dance each week and meet different people. Um, I think every beginner goes through delusion of thinking you're better than what you really think you are. And
Then you go to a congress, right?
and then you go to a congress and see this. But even when you go to the congress, it's like, oh yeah, I just need to practice for a week and I'll be on that level or something like that, you know?
Crazy.
But it's different now as a professional, seeing that like 5 years is nothing, dedicating to your craft. 10 years is kind of like, okay, now you're getting somewhere versus like a 1 year dancer, 2 year dancer kind of vibe. Yeah. So I'll definitely say I went through um, my phases of delusion properly. So I think everybody goes through that. But one thing that I really liked about dancing that I didn't get a lot of, and you mentioned what was it like growing up in a Nigerian household, um, and now as an adult becoming self-aware. I'm not sure if you heard of the five love languages.
I've not. Please tell me.
The Five Love Languages is this book by Dr. Gary Chapman, and it basically talks about 5 ways that one likes to give or receive love. Those five love languages are physical touch, words of affirmation, quality time, acts of service, and or gifts. With me, the things that like really mean a lot to me are physical touch and words of affirmation. I realized that in my 30s though.
Hmm.
And so now I'm looking back at my childhood and I realized that I didn't get a lot of physical touch from my parents and I didn't get a lot of words of affirmation. And some of my beginning first romantic relationships were kind of like uh, this desperation of getting those words of affirmation and physical touch because you just need those to feel whole as a human
Right,
being.
right, right.
Overall, yeah. Um, that's a whole nother subject of like therapeutic touch and like platonic touch for males and just between human beings in general in society versus having touch have to be immediately sexualized. um but yeah, so in salsa, I'm getting more touch, I'm getting more words of affirmation, and it's just really really like I'm falling in love with the dance. But when I take a look back at it, it's like I'm getting deposits of physical touch and words of affirmation
Right,
in
right.
the love
Okay.
tanks that were kind of like on E. So in this journey of becoming an adult and becoming more self-aware and kind of like shedding off your childhood and stepping into like who you are as a person and as an adult, that was definitely a theme. So that definitely spoke to me, getting
Is,
those
is
love
that what kind
languages.
of is that what kind of made you stick with salsa then,
Yeah, I would definitely say that it
or
was
dancing? I guess
therapeutic.
dancing in general, right? Yeah.
That was my social circle. Yeah. I would say 95% of my relationships, my girlfriends and things like that have come from the dance scene.
Okay.
Um,
So
and so it's just like for me growing up, um, I was a little bit. It's interesting to hear me say this now, but I was a little bit like shy and introverted and socially awkward, just learning dynamics and things like that. And so yeah, that was kind of a lifeline for me to kind of like, hey, I have some friends, we have a common hobby. I get words of affirmation. I'm getting praised when I do a good job, so that just makes you want to like invest more into the dance,
exactly.
you know?
Yeah, yeah. That's that I know that not only helps build up your confidence, man, but it's you feel like you're good at it, so you want to continue with it.
For
And
sure.
I think that's what drawn me to dancing as well, man.
For sure. And I have to give a shout out to my first salsa instructor. His name is Herman Hernandez.
Okay.
I'm not sure if he's going to hear this podcast or not, but he was definitely my salsa dad, and he taught me a lot of moves and things like that at Club Tropicana and other places. And so he would always be like, "You're a good dancer, bro. Keep dancing, keep
Yeah,
doing your
yeah,
thing, and all that kind of stuff." And so um, I'm thankful for what he taught me and stuff like that as I
yeah.
started my salsa journey.
Yeah, definitely. I was speaking to this other lady, man, and another instructor, and she said, at a young age, um, a teacher told her that she should go back to sports, and that kind of deterred her at the time from dancing. And so it's really amazing to see, how maybe one person or one instance in your life can kind of shape who you are. Because
Sure.
maybe if you had not received those positive words, you might not be here where you are today, man.
For sure, definitely.
So yeah, it's kind of crazy, how that works, man. Um, I want to ask you this though, man. Um, I'm curious to know, how do you think your your years in band class, playing instruments,
hmm
how do you think that has affected your dance style, or maybe like your dance growth?
Me being in band and playing musical instrument has given me a disease,
What do
and
you
that
call that?
disease is called musicality ADHD.
All right, for sure.
And it's one of the things that kind of caught my attention with kids, but playing in band and like actually playing the music and hearing the rhythms and seeing the way the music is structured and being able to identify different instruments and things like that is really, really, really awesome. I don't feel like I struggle to hear things at all.
Okay, okay.
And so that definitely, I feel, gave me an advantage in the Latin dance world and also in Kizomba, just to kind of like have that quick musical awareness. Because when I go out and travel and teach musicality, a lot of people struggle to like encompass everything that's going on in the music, and it's something that comes really natural to me. But the reason why it comes natural is because I've spent years around music, if you will.
Yeah.
And it's interesting now because now I'm potentially looking at getting back into creating some Kizomba beats and things like that. And
All right,
so
nice.
I want to start getting back into playing music and producing some music, you know?
There, yeah, man. This just came up, man. How important was, I guess, music in your household? Did your parents play a lot of music? Your dad or your mom?
That is a wonderful question. Music was always there. I think it was just there. It wasn't like a main focus, but it just through black culture. Yeah. So
Okay.
my dad, he didn't really listen to a lot of African music. He was listening more to American music. So like Marvin Gaye, Michael Jackson. My mom would listen to Anita Baker, Whitney Houston. Do you know Tevin Campbell? I might be
I don't
showing
think.
my age here, but
Yeah, I don't think I've ever heard of Tevin Campbell, honestly.
he is like one of the original like ushers, if you will,
Okay,
like from the
okay,
80s or something like that. You should listen to a song called Can We Talk?
okay.
Or
I'll check
Talk
it
to
out.
Me, something like that. But yeah, Tevin Campbell. So my mom would listen to, I remember her going to the store and buying cassette tapes and listen to this. And I remember my dad, he actually had like a large record collection with like Earth, Wind, and Fire and
Yes,
all
sir.
of these like black iconic bands
Right.
growing up. Um, I don't remember him throwing parties or anything like that, but there were nights every now and then where he would play some music and stuff like that, um, and just keep that rhythm going. So yeah, it was definitely present in my household for sure. But I think my parents were just kind of like listening to the music for themselves, and that's what we were exposed to. But yeah, like Michael Jackson, Janet Jackson, Marvin Gaye, um, Anita Baker, Whitney Houston, Earth, Wind, and Fire, Tevin Campbell, um, Shaka Brown.
Yeah, naming them all. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, all these people were like definitely people that my parents listened to for sure.
I understand that, man. I feel like we kind of have a similar background, man. Cause when I played, I only did 1 year band, man. But I've always grown up around music and everything, man. And I don't like to brag, man, but I feel like I'm pretty good at musicality as well, man. I feel like it's something that I kind of I hear the music and I'm able to separate what I'm hearing, man. So I
Mhm.
definitely relate to you on that, bro.
Catch the pattern of what's coming up, you know?
That's what
Like
that's what that's all it is though, man. That's all the
mhm.
music is, just recognizing the pattern, right?
I tried, man. If I would put that on a billboard somewhere, like for the musicality, yeah. Because like if you hear something, sometimes you hear it every 8 counts. Sometimes you hear it every 16 counts. Sometimes you hear it every 32 counts. Sometimes there's a special part in the song where it only happens once.
Right.
So it's just kind of like figuring out where you are in the music and being able to zoom out and see the song as a
Hmm.
whole,
Right.
and then still find those little patterns and how they change, you know?
No, I definitely understand that, man. I I guess we can get into it right now since we're talking about it, man.
For sure.
Uh, for people who may actually struggle with musicality, man, is there how can they improve upon it? Is it just maybe listening to that genre of music, often, or
Mm.
what is something practical they can do to improve their musicality?
So I'm going to give you a piece of advice that I hear the most, which is definitely valid, and then I'm going to give you my recommendation because I definitely have a lot of students that come up to me and ask me for advice in the kids world. But in the kids world, in the salsa world, in bachata world, it's all 4x4 music, yeah, and it all follows that pop structure with the intro, the first verse, the chorus, second verse, hook, chorus, and then maybe outro. deviations from that for sure, but like that's the general consensus of that musical composition. So what you hear from a lot of different instructors from a lot of different genres is spend time listening to the music in the background. So it's like playing into your ear, into your subconscious. That is
Okay.
very, very
So like the
valid
background of your day, you mean, right? I just
for sure.
yeah. Okay. Okay.
Um, and that's passive. Yeah. And it's okay to be passive and listening to the music passively. It's definitely going to help you recognize songs and start to be able to pull your favorites, who are the artists, um, et cetera, et cetera. Right. Um, I feel like if you want to be a serious student in regards to improving your musicality, I feel like that requires some studying and some
Mm.
intentional practice. Yeah. So practicing with a purpose. And one of those things can be to just take, and they have apps that can do this on your phone now, but take an app that can able to loop music and choose like 16 counts of a song and listen to that 16 counts 30 times. Yeah.
Right.
And now you get the chance to just take, instead of trying to take the whole meal of an entire song,
Right. Right. Right.
now you're taking a spoonful or a slice if it's a musical pie. And now you're able to just focus on that one part of the
Exactly.
music and see the similarities behind it. Yeah. If you want to take that a step further, again, listening to one part of the music, but then it's like, okay, the goal is for it to go into your ears, process in your brain, and then in your brain be able to move in some way that shows what you're hearing in that music. Yeah. So some people struggle with this from the ear to the brain to the nervous system to actually
Right.
move.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
So one way to kind of break that down into little chunks is like, okay, maybe write it down on a sheet of paper, like, hey, okay, here's 16 counts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. One eight count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Second eight count and like a graph, and then just kind of like, okay, there's this little boop 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 boop, and you're like drawing like a musical sheet, if you
Mm-hmm.
will, where you're hearing the things on what count of the music, yeah, because you have to know where the one is and where the next one is coming, yeah. And then once you're able to hear and visualize and write it down with all the different elements that are going on in the music, a step further would be now, okay, can I maybe have my fingertips and tap the rhythm? Bop, 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 if we're talking about the salsa clave, yeah?
Right. Right. Right.
Um, and then fingertips, I think we're more easily expressive with our fingertips because we use these more on a daily basis and in more intricate ways than we are our feet. Yeah. Sometimes you just need to like break things down. Okay, I'm going to take my fingertips and now I'm going to focus on my shoulders. Now I'm going to focus on my hips. Now I'm going to focus on my footwork to that same sound. Yeah. So you're using different parts of your body to express the same sounds in the music. And then from there, like as your brain capacity expands and what you're able to process, then it can go from 16 counts to 32 counts to 64 counts to like whole songs. And now you're able to like practice a whole song of musicality, but it definitely takes little by little stepways along the
Yeah.
way.
Yeah. Definitely. I definitely. I understand what you mean by that. And I said, going back to something you said earlier, man. I think musicality is it safe to say it's kind of like a two-part skill. And what I mean is that is one part your dancing ability, and then it's
Mm-hmm.
another part of just being able to differentiate everything,
For
right?
sure. Yeah. You have
Hmm.
to break that down. Like, okay, I'm struggling with musicality. Well, are you even hearing what's going on in the music? Because if you're not hearing, then it doesn't matter what your body ability is.
Right, right,
Yeah.
right.
So hearing is one thing, being able to move for one thing. And I would even add a third element into that, brother, and ask like, how does the music make you feel? And
Okay,
are you
sure enough.
able, and since we're talking about partner dancing, are you able to emote that feeling to your partner? So
Hey,
if
that
this
is you're right.
music makes you feel happy, are you sharing that happiness? Yeah, because I'm like, oh, this is a happy song, but I could be very technical and be like, okay, counts are on 2, 3, 5, 6. So I'm gonna go pop, 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 pop. I'm musical, but it doesn't have any groove or flow, you know.
Right,
So
right, right. Yeah.
as a thinker, as an IT guy, that was definitely where I started off as. And with my dancing and Kizomba especially, it's been helping me more on the feeling side of things as well, and finding that balance between the musical composition and the technical side of things, and then also the feeling side of things, you know?
Right,
Mm.
right, right. Yeah, yeah. I feel like oh, I don't want to get off track, but I feel like the feeling of the feeling part is that does that come with more experience in dancing? Because I feel like as a when you're new to the dance, that may be when you're more technical and you're
Mm-hmm.
just trying to understand the basics, trying to get everything down. So you're kind of stuck in your head. And once you become more advanced, you kind of get out of your head and you're
For
able to
sure.
start recognizing other things.
I feel like it depends on which way that your brain is wired. Yeah.
Okay, so no,
Have you heard of the Myers-Briggs personality test?
I know what it is. I know the different personality types.
For sure. So I don't remember all the words, but like for me,
Yeah,
for
there's a
example,
couple
I'm
of
an INTJ, and I want to
them.
highlight the T because that means thinker or
Okay.
thinking. Yeah. And then there's a possibility of a person being an INFJ. And F on the other side of the spectrum is a feeler. So in that third letter, we have people who are more inclined to think first, and then they have to feel afterwards because that's what's naturally feels natural for their brain process. And there are people who are definitely feelers first. So they feel the music, but then they lack an awareness and they're not sure what they're doing, but they're 100% there in the emotion. And then they have to kind of explore that emotion and that feeling into thinking to like, okay, this is what's happening. This is what I'm doing there. Yeah. So there's like this spectrum of thinking versus feeling. I actually did a podcast on this, and it's just realizing where you are and trying to like find the way. So a thinker is like, okay, I'm going to think about it and break it down, but now let me talk about my feelings. Here are my feelings. Let me break it down and let me talk about technique or thinking. Yeah. So it depends.
Yeah.
I'm a
Okay.
thinker first for sure, but I definitely have tons of private students who are
Mm.
feelers first. And so I have to
Yeah.
meet them where they're at
Of course.
and
Of
then
course.
show them and bring some awareness that
Right.
in that
Right. Right.
aspect. And it's interesting to see that same parallel outside of dance in the Myers-Briggs personality test.
Mm. I definitely understand that, bro. I definitely
Mhm.
do, man. As everyone does differently. So I want to, I guess, get back to your story, man. So,
Yes, sir.
say you're doing salsa and bachata for a while, um, and tell me, I guess, how do you get introduced to Kizumba? How does that come about?
So the first time I saw Kizomba, I was actually turned. I wasn't turned off by it, but it didn't appeal to me. And in retrospect,
You're
knowing
not the
what I
first
know
person to
now,
say that to me. Yeah.
yeah, the first time that I saw it and knowing what I know now, what I saw was bad Tarashinya.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
so
That's two different things. So, okay.
it is two different things, yeah. So I was at the Dallas Bachata Festival one year. They had some Kizomba instructors from Spain. I'm like, okay, whatever, Kizomba. I'm all about that salsa bachata. And there was like a Kizomba room, and I went downstairs um, at one of the venues that the Dallas Bachata Festival had, and there was just one couple there, and they're all wrapped up into one other arms, and I saw a lot of hip motion,
Exactly.
and I saw that, and I'm like, they're gonna have a good night tonight. And I went back upstairs and I continued dancing salsa and bachata for the rest of the night. Um, that was the first time that I saw it, and it didn't appeal to me. And I didn't take any kizomba classes that year.
Well, yeah,
Um,
that wasn't even Kizumba. That was just tied to senior
that was
though.
Tarashinya, which is a branch of kizomba,
Okay.
but
All right.
it does have its right there. But then like if people don't know what they're doing, and if the
Oh
guy's
man,
trying to
you'll
hit
make
on the
anything look
girl,
bad.
the intention of the dance is different. Yeah,
Oh
so
man, of course.
Um, the next time that I really saw Kizomba was with my friend. His name is Eric, and I'm not sure if you know who Georgette is. Georgette,
Dude, yeah, I know
Houston?
her. You know her her husband.
Yes, Troy. Uh
He
huh.
he lives in New Orleans. I know Troy.
Okay, nice. So Georgette and Troy lived in Houston, and there was this one
Georgette.
salsa social, and Troy was really excited about Kizomba and bring it there, and so he had Eric dance Kizomba with Georgette. And again, Eric did the best that he could, but my salsa brain analyzed their footwork, and I'm like, okay, with salsa, it's like you're stepping on the one, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and a one, and so you're seeing that left foot go forward again on that count, and I couldn't catch his footwork. I mean, if you watch Kizomba, like your footwork is not predicated on where you are in the count.
Exactly.
And so
It's more
that
free,
threw me
right?
for a loop. I'm like, what the hell is he doing? What's the basic step? Like, what is he doing? What's he following? And so, and then with Georgette, obviously that looked pretty classy. It was respectful. They were playing around with the music and stuff like that. I'm like, man, I need to learn how to do this. And I also think I liked the song that I heard as well.
And that's a big part, right? If you
Yeah,
enjoy
for
the
sure.
music.
So part of it is like even getting exposed to all of the different genres of a particular element. Yeah, because you say salsa, but like there's boogaloo, there's onto, there's Cuban salsa, there's Latin jazz, um, there's bachata, Dominican bachata, Cuban bachata, and then central remixes bachata. So you got to listen to the range of music and see what appeals to you. Yeah. And I feel like some people with Kizomba who judge Kizomba hear one song, but it's like, no, give it a chance and like
Right, right.
listen to multiple rhythms. Yeah. Um, so I saw Eric dance with Georgette and like, man, that is dope. And I need to learn that. And then I think like next week or something like that, Jorge had announced that he's going to have a Bachata Kizomba festival. And that
Nice.
was June of 2012. And I bought my pass. And that is the event where I took my very first Kizomba class.
You know who it was with?
Um, Believe it or not, it was with Afro Latin Connection. I'm not sure if you heard of them yet, but they're the longest lasting Kizomba couple that's still actively teaching that I'm aware of. Um,
Who are they? Where is that?
Ricardo and Paula out of Portugal. Um, you can find them on Facebook or I can send you the
Okay.
information, but they've been
Eh,
teaching for a
just
long
curious.
time.
That's awesome,
Uh,
man.
Isabel and Felicien have also been
I
around
remember
for a
them.
pretty long
Yeah,
time.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I definitely remember them.
And they weren't there at the festival, but they've been teaching together for a long, long, long time, and still are actively teaching.
I'm
So
trying to get them on the show. Yeah.
um, the instructors there were Afro Latin Connection, Pablo Vilches, and another instructor from Spain named Yvonne. And they were all three teaching Kizomba workshops throughout the weekend. And so um, that was my first introduction to it, if you will. And
Hey.
that's where I kind of like even fell in love with the dance more. So much so that I flew to Spain
Oh wow.
December 2012,
Same year.
the same year, to go to a festival in Madrid. And that was also my birthday month. My birthday is December 11th. And so I spent the whole month in Europe. And that
That's
was a
awesome,
really
man. That's really
nice
cool.
that was a really nice time. I jumped around Madrid and Slovakia and Austria. Um, but yeah, that sealed the deal. And I came back. Some people were started to get it going and things like that. And this one studio approached me and said, "Hey, word on the street is like you're the Kizoma guy." And I'm like, "Okay, how
That's
do you
very
feel about coming out to teach?" And I'm like, "I don't know how to teach dance." She's like, "It's okay, you'll learn along the way." Her name was Linda Cook. That was the person that gave me my first teaching job. And because of her, I fell in love with teaching. And yeah, like that was I started teaching the dance like 6 months after I learned it.
oh, wow.
And I just kind of like kept learning and teaching, learning and teaching, learning and teaching. And now, what, almost 7 years later now,
Yeah.
I'm
I
still
want
doing.
all right, so I got a couple questions for you, man.
Yeah.
All right, let's start with this one, man. I feel like some people might be upset
Hmm.
to hear that you were teaching at such an early stage, man.
Hmm.
Is that what is your looking back on? How do you feel about that? Do you feel like you were ready at that time? Should you have been teaching at that time, or?
Can I be frank?
Of course, please. I want you to.
I would say to those instructors that are shitting on newer instructors to mind their business
Okay.
and focus on their craft. Because if you're coming from a place of scarcity and you think that this person is messing up the dance, then the dance needs to grow. Everybody's
Okay.
going to have their own story. If you are a professional, if you are legit, if you are on your game, then there's no threat because that person isn't going to be on your level in that particular dance. Yeah. Um, Everybody has to start somewhere.
Right.
Yeah. So to those instructors that are like, "Ooh, you can't be teaching. What do you do? The culture, you don't know anything, all that kind of stuff." It's like there's no Kizomba or dance teacher certification.
Right.
There's no professional counsel. There's no college degree. Like there's nothing that you can really get to start teaching dance. Yeah. So you just have to kind of like start doing it. And if it speaks to you, and hey, if you're putting in the extra time to like lesson plan and putting up money to rent studio space and taking the risk financially to like hope you have enough students to come and offset the cost of the studio rental and make a little bit of money because dance teaching isn't like a lucrative field. Yeah. So like um then kudos to you. But yeah, I don't feel like the older instructors should feel threatened or try to push down or knock down the new instructors because they were also started at that place
Right.
at that
Right.
one
Right.
time. And if you're lucky enough as a new instructor to have an apprentice, that is awesome, yeah. But I did not have an apprentice. There was nobody else really in the country to mentor me, so I just took it upon myself to like learn the best that I could and start with what I had, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's my message to the instructors. Get out of a scarcity mindset and think of an abundance mindset. Yeah. Um, the more, so one thing that I think of for sure is like if you go to like the huge hubs, like let's say you go to Spain, for example, bachata is huge there. Huge.
'Cause I didn't know that. Okay.
How many instructors are there? They probably have damn near 100 bachata instructors. Yeah. Same thing with Paris. Paris, Kizomba is one of the global hotspots. How many Kizomba instructors do they have there? Tons, hundreds of Kizomba instructors there, if you will. Yeah. So like more instructors just gonna help build the scene and increase the pie. Yeah. So for those instructors, I just wonder if that feeling or wanting to knock them down is coming from scarcity or an abundance mindset, or you
Mm.
feel threatened, or do you feel like you haven't been as professional and on your game as much as you could have been, and now you're looking at what other people are doing.
Okay. Yeah.
That's my message there. For the people who have a desire to start teaching and do not have an apprentice, my message to you is to start. Can I was almost going to curse, but
You can curse
yes,
now. It's true. Well,
start fucking teaching.
yeah. Wait, so
Um,
you say apprentice, you mean a mentor, though, right?
yeah, like in a mentor. Yeah, it's like in an ideal world you would have a mentor. Yeah,
Right.
but not
Right.
everybody has access to that. Um, now, for my message to the newer instructors, who is somebody who's looking to teach but they're afraid because they don't have experience or clout or anything like that, I would just say fucking start. Yeah. The students are going to determine who they like and support and
Exactly.
come out who they want. Yeah. So
Like a free
if you
market, right?
starting, yeah, if you start off as an instructor and your classes suck and you don't, none of your students come back the next class next week, that's a sign that you need to improve or do some better marketing or whatever to like get students to continue to stay. Yeah. But people teach for different reasons. Some people are passionate about the dance and really want to see it grow. Um, some people do it because they want some extra income, but again, that's like stepping into like now entrepreneurial territory. Are you able to get enough students to offset studio costs and promote and market and all that kind of stuff? Um, so yes, definitely start, but also realize that for my new instructors, you have to out students your students. Yeah. So I'm not a fan of the newer instructors that start off and don't take private lessons, don't travel to Europe, don't train, don't practice and things like that, but then want the power or the title of instructor and they're using that as an ego boost. I'm
Right.
not a
Right.
fan of
Right.
that either, yeah. So I'm all for teaching. I'm all for doing what you love. I'm all for growing the community. But then, if you are asking for monetary value from somebody for a service, I feel like you should do the best of
Of
what you can.
course. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. So that's anyone though. Always be a student. That's
for sure.
anyone, right?
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even myself included at
Of course.
this stage in the game. Yeah, I
So
still want
I hope you say that you're gonna live
for sure. Yeah, and
it.
I've even taken I take ballet classes or I'll take a Pilates class just to help my own body
Right.
awareness and
Right. Right.
see how I can understand my body better so that way I can communicate that to my students better, you know?
Yeah. Hmm.
Um, but yeah, like, and that's one of the reasons I also started my podcast is so I could learn more about the culture and these instructors and things like that and use them kind of like as mentors
Right.
indirectly,
Right.
well, to kind of just make myself more knowledgeable on the dance and everything like that, you know? So I see that part as twofold. Existing instructors, shut up, do your thing. Nobody's going to take your students if the students find value in your classes.
So enough, yeah.
The new instructors, don't be afraid to start. But if you're going to start, really own it and be a student. And don't think that just because you say you're an instructor, the students are going to come back to you. You have to earn their trust. You have to earn their value and earn whatever monetary exchange that you're asking. It's a value exchange, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
value that they are paying you equal to the value that you're giving them, and you have to continue to grow because you don't want to get to the point to where your students outgrow you. So you have to
Oh
kind of like
man, right.
stay ahead of them. And that should be from your own personal drive, in my opinion. So that's
Yeah,
how I do that.
I definitely understand that. And I appreciate you like going through both spectrums, man, because that could be maybe freeing for someone who's hesitant to start teaching, man. They feel like they're not ready yet. So I
Start
really
from
appreciate
teaching.
that.
You're
Yeah,
not
man.
going to get better at teaching by not teaching.
Show
So,
enough, show enough.
and there's nobody has a gun to your head that says if you teach, I'm going to kill you. So start, and you're not going to get fined. You're not going to be put in jail or anything like that. So I mean, I get that it can be a little bit unsettling because like, ooh, I'm going to put myself out there. Our students going to show up? But typically, if somebody wanting to teach, maybe somebody in the community is already asking them to do that. Yeah, it's like,
Right.
and put them in. Those people tend to kind of rise to that position naturally anyway, I feel. So yeah, own that. And there's nothing wrong with trying something and say that didn't work out and trying something different or moving on to something else. Like people are afraid of failure, but failure is how you check yourself to see like what you're good at, what you're not good at, what speaks to you, what doesn't speak to you. Yeah. You have to taste it. If you don't taste anything, then you don't, how do you know if you're going to like it?
Show enough, man. That's so true, bro. I wanna I wanna kind of go back in time, man. I want to hear about your beginner stage in Kizumba, man. Tell me what was that like, man?
So that was really cool. I said at that festival June 2012 with my first Kizomba class. It was really awesome to see the demos. And since I already had that musicality aspect of it and I already had previous dance experience, again, like I'm careful. Like I do realize there was definitely some delusion the first 2 years that I went through. But I do feel like I was able to get a hold of the dance a little bit faster than some of the other people. Um, and then I started teaching it so early as well. So that kind of helped build the self awareness of what was going on as well. So um, it was really fun at that festival. I was really inspired. I was I like the culture. Um, with my dad being Nigerian and hearing that it had African roots, it was cool to kind of like potentially have a link to
Right.
Africa in some regard, even if it wasn't specifically Nigerian culture, but it was African culture. That was something new to me as well, and I feel like that's something that is shared with a lot of African Americans nowadays. That link to Africa. We all know slavery existed, but then a lot of us don't know what African country we come from.
That's a
And
big thing,
part of that
man.
is it's hard because you don't know. Like if you all the slaves are just thrown on a ship and then they didn't forget about their identity and their culture and their language and like all the things, it makes it hard. So it's nice. I feel like that was the theme as well. And then the musicality, the potential of the musicality to not follow the 8 count and to really express the music in different ways that you felt necessary. So that was also really, really nice. Um, and the music definitely spoke to me more than salsa because kizomba music connected to top 40 music.
Okay.
So I heard remixes of Beyonce and Usher and things like that. Like how many Usher salsa songs do you know, or
Not a lot.
Beyonce salsa songs?
Right. Yeah.
And so it was closer to hip hop and R&B, which is what I grew up with, and so that definitely spoke to me more. And then on another level, since I am a physical touch person, kizomba is a closer dance, so I got more touch out of that dance than I did out of salsa and bachata. So that also offered a therapeutic element into it as well.
I definitely understand that, bro. I definitely do, and I think I agree with you. I think that's why I resonate more towards Kizumba as well, man. Is that I love, I'll be honest, man. I don't really in my free time. I don't think I've ever truly played salsa music, man. Like one time I had class, man. But I'll definitely bump like some Kizumba music or just Simba
Yeah.
music. I really love Simba music. Simba is
Mm.
amazing.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, I think that's a big part, just connecting with the music so much.
Definitely. And if that speaks to you, then it's just going to make it that much easier to dance and invest and go out to social and things like that as well, you know?
Exactly, man. Exactly, man. I'm very curious, man. I want to hear about, I guess your beginner stage in teaching, man. What was it like learning to teach, and how did that help you become a better dancer?
I feel like if you take a look at the best dancers in the world, they teach to
I
some
believe it
degree.
because teaching it also teaches you, right?
Yeah,
You're learning,
so
you learn from it.
if I could have a hashtag to encompass my Kizomba journey from then till now, it will be hashtag when one teaches to learn.
Hey, so no, there it is.
Period. For
I never heard that, but
from
it's
the
true.
beginning. Yeah. So it's a quote. I made it a hashtag because it's 2019. Hey. But yeah, that was definitely my whole jam. Like teaching just makes you like you have to set the example. So hey, move your left foot, and then you move your right. Oh shit, that's not my left. That is my right, you know? And the students was like, are you moving your left foot or your right foot? And then, like people's brains work in different ways. So like
Yeah, you gotta
when
adapt to
when
that.
somebody asks a question, they're from their perspective. So now you have to receive that question, process it in your brain and your body, and see the question behind the question, and
Right,
then answer that question in a way that makes sense to you, but then also makes sense to them. Yeah.
right, right, right.
So people learn in all kind of different ways, and I feel like a really awesome instructor will be able to adapt to different learning styles. Obviously, you have a stronger learning style that resonates with you personally, but if you're again the value that you bring to a number of students, I feel like being able to cater to multiple learning styles. Some people need to count, some people need to hear the music, some people need direction, some people need sounds like, okay, boom, da da ba, boom, 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 or one, two, three, and four. Those words will speak differently to different people. Yeah. Or if you're talking too much and they say, hey, I just need to try it with the music, then they have that freedom and they get that light bulb moment as well. Yeah. So it's like almost like a Rubik's cube, yeah. Like what combination of exercises and words and drills and demonstrations can I do to get that light bulb moment to come off, yeah. So I fucking get off on like creating as many light bulb moments as I can in my
Yeah,
classes.
yeah,
I'm trying to light it up.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, that's definitely how I started off with teaching. Like I said, I didn't have a mentor, so to speak, but I did try to travel to Europe once a year to go
Nice.
train and take private lessons and things like that, and then come back and share what I learned. And I've been doing that over and over again. And so that's where I've got most of my training done. And then I also put on my festivals. So obviously, coming and bringing instructors, I'm also observing the way that they teach, what they're teaching, and things like that. So, yeah, I really, really love teaching. Like, I would say that's my strongest ability in the dance. If we're taking a look at like social dancing, performing, teaching, um, in that regard, I would definitely say teaching is the thing that kind of like gets me off. As sure as far as happiness and sharing that knowledge, and that's why so I'm still doing it. Like in my
Yeah,
private lessons, like when I see an instructor, I see a student like finally get a move, it gives me goosebumps still, you
yeah.
know? So
Okay.
I use that as kind of a gauge of like, hey, this is still something that I'm passionate about and something that I enjoy doing. Um, but yeah, like teaching is really where it's at. And then teaching is where you make your money in the Kizomba world. Yeah. Because in the Latin world, you can pay money for a show because it's more of a performance driven dance scene. But in Kizomba, that's not the case. So if you are a Kizomba instructor or artist and you want to make money, you have to do that through teaching.
Showing up, yeah, yeah, man. Speaking on your festival, Neo Kids, man.
Mm.
Tell me, how did that come about? And I guess, and what year did you start that?
We just had our fifth year, so that was
14 then.
2019. So it should have started 2014.
Okay, so 2 years after you had started, then, right?
Yeah, so kind of out the gate. Um, so I mentioned my dad was an entrepreneur and having a business and all that kind of stuff. So um, between me dropping out of college and me doing salsa dancing and things like that was about 5 years.
Uh-huh.
And during those 5 years, I knew I wanted to work for myself. I didn't want to be broke. I knew I wanted to, like, hey, you're not going to be in college, but that means you still need to. That doesn't mean that the hustle stops. Yeah, you can
Right,
hustle for a
exactly.
college degree, or you can hustle to like make yourself valuable as an entrepreneur or something like that. Something to earn that paper. Yeah. So I started studying a lot of sales and marketing newsletters. Actually have one here on my desk. So like these sales and marketing newsletters, this is by Dan Kennedy. If you guys want to find out like where I got a lot of my core sales and marketing stuff, he has several books. And this newsletter from June 2015 to put things in perspective.
Yeah, okay, so enough.
Um, and it's still sitting on my desk because there's still like just sales and marketing techniques and rules and copywriting, things that you can add to your business that helps you able to like sell your product or service. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so studying that and then also seeing the business side of dance through the festivals and the classes and the workshops and the festivals, I knew that it could be a source of income as well. Yeah. So out the gate, just taking a look at the U.S. market, there were a lot of festivals that catered to uh, urban kids specifically. And so I'm like, hey, this is an open market. Nobody is catering to this, and so like I'm going to be the first one to jump on it. And that was kind of like my initiative for it. Another source of income because obviously like $80 for a private, how many of those do you need to make rent?
All
Uh,
right.
and the festivals, how much money do you come back from each festival versus like potentially making a couple $1,000s from a festival, more work, more overhead, more risk. But if it pays off, then you get like a bigger lump sum of
Yeah,
money. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
So that was kind of like my vision behind it. And then also offering that value to the community as well.
So let me ask you this then, man. So you started the festival 2 years after, I guess you started Kizomba. Um, I guess at what point did you start taking this more seriously? Like, like when did you quit your day job and start going all in?
Excellent question. I didn't quit. I got fired.
can we
uh,
can we talk about that or that
yeah.
that
So that happened May 14th, 2014.
okay, so that was a couple months, but after it or what, or was that? I mean,
That
a
was
couple months
a couple.
before the festival. I'm sorry.
Yeah, for sure. So I started the festival in 2015,
Okay,
15,
okay,
16, 17, 18,
okay.
19.
So no, I get you.
And so it was a year after I started dancing and things like that. So I was kind of a half pregnant dance instructor while I was still working my IT job. Yeah. I was trying to like use up all my PTO to like go teach on the weekends and then come back and like sometimes flying in early Monday morning straight into the office to like
Wow.
uh, clock in and do my IT job, which is technical support for a construction company. That's the best job I ever had, by the way. Highest paying job I ever had, most benefits, bonuses at the end of the year. So as far as corporate life work goes, that was a good gig, a good job, especially as an African American without a college degree.
Mm.
Um, so no complaints there, but it didn't fulfill my soul. I looked at people who were 20 years older than me, more or less in the same position, putting up with the same shit as everybody else is going through. Yeah, so that didn't speak to me as like this is not where I want to be. I'm smarter than this. I'm more capable than this. And so I was already planning to like leave my job, but I wasn't exactly sure when to like make that jump. And I remember one day um, I was working, and I'm not surprised that I got fired either because I had been working there for like 3 years, and I was kind of like just kind of like cruising,
Uh-huh.
I was
Yeah.
doing my job and things like that, but I wasn't going above and beyond to like kiss a manager's ass or anything like that. Like I just wanted to like clock in, clock out, and keep doing my thing. I think since I was a dance instructor as well, um, people think, oh, you're going to a dance festival, so you're just gonna go get lit and drunk and party and do all that kind of stuff. I'm like, nah, I'm actually going to like do something that I feel is therapeutic and something that speaks to like my core values, you know, that's different than like party on the weekend, twerk, 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 girls
Right,
gone
right,
wild, all that kind of vibe. But I feel like most of typical America doesn't understand that. They see the girls gone wild parties and
they think
associate that
everything is
with the dance festival. So I kind of had that reputation at my company. Um, and so since I wasn't pushing and like striving for more in the company, I could see how they wanted to like, hey, you're not a good cultural fit for the company anymore. And so my manager is like, hey, Charles, I need to talk to you. And they bring me into the office and they tell me that they're letting me go. And I was smiling the whole time um, because they let me go in May and I already had some bookings for June, July, and August. And I'm like, fuck, like, how am I going to go to these gigs and I don't have any more PTO? I'm like,
right.
negative PTO. How am I going to make this happen? And the universe is like, I'm going to show you, motherfucker. Bloop.
Nice. That's awesome.
You get fired. And I got fired. And so I was smiling. I remember walking out and smiling like, oh, I know exactly what I'm going to do.
So
And
that's kind of
so
freeing, right?
yeah, it was definitely it was scary, but it was freeing as well. They gave me a very nice severance package. They gave me 5 Gs, and so I had the smoothest transition that I could have asked for. It wasn't like I got fired, no severance package, no bookings, and from there I had to start from square one. I was already hustling and kind of like
Nice.
working 2 jobs, so I
Okay.
already had a name going for myself. I already had some bookings, and that $5,000 helped just kind of like, hey, well, at least I have rent and my bills and stuff like that
Right,
paid
right,
for
right.
the
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
next couple of months. And so that's what I took and kind of built into, gave birth to Neo Kizomba.
That's awesome, man. That's really cool, yeah. And
Hmm.
so yeah, you start Neo Kids, man, and so I guess is at that point, yeah, you go all in, right? So
Yeah,
you
pretty
haven't had a
much
day
all
job
in. I
since.
start the podcast. Um, I do the festival. I start teaching and all that kind of stuff, and just kind of like take my entrepreneurial things that I learned and applying it to the into the dance. And yeah, that's I mean, 5 years later, this is where I'm at.
Yeah, man, that's awesome, bro. That's awesome, man. Um, so I guess I want to ask you about this, man. Going back to when you said it was scary, man. Um, I guess other people who might be in your same position, so something like maybe like a striving artist versus like a starving artist versus like a thriving artist. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I guess what maybe what advice could you give someone who wants to go the route you went and go all in to pursue their dreams, man? What could you help? How could you help them?
So you have to have a game plan, yeah, and figure out what it is that you want to do and the money that's going to take you to get there, yeah. Um, when I first started my dance career, I downgraded my lifestyle. Yeah.
Yeah, you had to.
So I got roommates. I wasn't paying for my own place anymore. Um, I downgraded. I mean, it depends how old you are and what kind of lifestyle that you want, but like going out to eat at a fancy place every weekend versus like not doing that and like being more frugal with your money, cooking at home. um,
Real quick. How old were you back in 15? Can I ask?
Yes, I'm 34 now.
Okay.
So I want to say I was
Okay.
28.
29, 29, 30
Mhm,
or what?
28, yeah,
Okay, man.
around
That's
that.
still, yeah, that's still a little. You still downgraded, man. Okay.
No, for sure. Like, so, and then I also didn't have any kids.
That helped, right?
Um, I didn't have any kids. I didn't have a car note. My car was paid off, and things like that. So it's like literally taking a look at your monthly bills and seeing, okay, what kind of lifestyle do you have currently? And what are the essentials? What are must haves versus what are nice to haves? Yeah. Because if you're trying to fill your life with nice to haves, but then you also have this passion, which one do you want more? Because you can't fucking have both unless you have the money to do both. Then you can go ahead and do what you want to do. Yeah. If you got the financial backing. Yeah. Or have money saved up or whatever. But even if you have money saved up, like it's still smart to be frugal. Yeah.
Of course, of course.
So that was the first thing I did. I definitely downgraded. my lifestyle as far as getting roommates and what I was spending my money on, things like that. And then also just hustling to like make income in. And then the thing is with the entrepreneur, you have to create opportunities to make income. Yeah. Because you don't have somebody handing you a check every 2 weeks.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that initiative to really take a look at the month and like, how much money do I want to make? Okay, what are the products and services you're offering? So let's say private lessons, or for example, okay, if I have $1,000 goal and I'm charging $80 for a private lesson, how many private lessons do I need to try to sell this month? Who are those potential clients? Or like, okay, taking a look at your bookings as an artist. Okay, I have only one booking this month. What kind of opportunities can I create in some city to where I can come home with some money in another city?
Mm.
So definitely take a look at the finances. If you're putting extra burden on yourself, and then again, it's like, how bad do you want your dream? You mentioned it's like, oh, you want to follow your dreams, you want to follow your passion, but you're not willing to let go of your cush lifestyle. Then you have to live with that choice. Yeah. But if you really, really wanted to, you could downgrade, and it's easier to do that without responsibilities of kids and student loans and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, if it's really your dream and that's what really sets your soul on fire, then you have to be willing to sacrifice. And
Yeah.
what are you willing to sacrifice for that dream? Um, and also having an exit plan or like some money saved up or something like that definitely helps. And then just having like a plan, like, okay, what is going to be your income plan? What sources of income can you create to give you the lifestyle that you're trying to do?
Mhm. Yeah,
I think it's
man.
important to kind of sit down and take a look at the numbers of what you're offering and what you need for your lifestyle and how much money you want to make after that. Yeah.
No, I definitely understand that, man. Um, I kind of want to, I guess, maybe change gears on you, man.
For sure.
Um, I wanna maybe get into like maybe some value for other people who may be listening, man. So, and you've been teaching for a while now, man. Could you tell me maybe some common mistakes that you see from both leads and follows, and then more so just like giving advice, maybe some hints and tips on how people can improve their leading and their following.
The first thing that jumps out to me and slaps me in the face is it baffles me the amount of people who do not record themselves practice,
Okay, okay,
hands down. And that boils down to the core theme of self-awareness and delusion. Yeah. You cannot have self-awareness and delusion in the same. It's either delusion or self-awareness. Which one do you want? It's one or the other. Yeah. And I feel like if you really want to level up your dancing as a follower, as a lead, you need to practice. But it's one thing to practice and imagine the way that you look versus actually
right. Actually
record the way that you
seeing
look.
it.
Yeah. So I see tons of people pay hundreds to thousands of dollars to go to a weekender or a festival and take private lessons and all that kind of stuff, but then they don't practice or they don't record themselves practicing. Yeah, you really need to know what you look like, um, as far as your dancing, to be self-aware of how you're transferring your weight, how you're stepping, um, and if you don't have that self-awareness, then you're not going to grow. Yeah. And that's why I think like teaching is really awesome, because it forces you and holds you to a higher standard of self-awareness, because now you're setting the example for other people.
Right, right, right.
So right off the bat, if you want to improve your dancing, record yourself practicing and be intentional with what you want to practice. Yes, it's one thing to like turn on a song and just dance and pretend and just move around randomly, but say, hey, I want to focus on my left turns, on my right turns if you're in salsa or bachata. If you're in kizomba, I want to work on my hip motion, or I want to work on my saidas. Um, and one theme that I see as well in a lot of dances, from hip hop to tango to ballet to kizomba, is get your feet right, and then you can get your frame right. Yeah. If your feet aren't right and all of your mental space and your mental ability is like just getting tripped up over the way that you're stepping, your frame is going to be crap because
Right.
you're not able to give enough self-awareness into what's going on there. Yeah. But if you're able to record yourself and get your feet right, and this is the same thing as well, like in ballet, they have you focus on the lower half of your body and in the three different positions: first position, second position, fourth position, all that kind of stuff. And then once you have a handle on that, now we'll add port de bras and do all the different things. So the same thing in hip hop. They focus on the lower part. Okay, stepping, boom, da da ba, boom, ba ba, and then after you get that, okay, during that we're gonna go boom, ba da ba 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 ba. But it doesn't make sense to focus on the upper body if your lower body isn't on point. Yeah, and the same thing goes with any dance, I would say as well. So if you're able to focus on your steps during solo practice time, when you do take a class or take a private and things like that, then you have that much more mental space to focus on what's going on in the conversation of the frame. Yeah.
I get you definitely. Yeah. And real quick, what about maybe something specifically for the followers? Anything you see common for them?
In order for a follow to level up her skills, she has to level up her sense of self awareness. Yeah. So I mean, coming from Kizomba, you need to be aware of yourself. You need to be aware of your partner and be aware of the music. I would say the thing that I enjoy the most with the follow is balance.
Okay.
It's really a night and day dance when you have a follow who is well balanced versus not balanced. Yeah.
I understand.
And if you're going to be wearing heels or wearing flats or flippers or ice skates, whatever you want to put on your feet, I don't really care as long as you have your balance. Yeah.
Mm.
And so that means practicing by yourself. Yeah. There are little balance boards and bonsu balls that you can get to practice your balance. If I was training a group of follows, that would probably be something we'll do in every single practice, working on ankle strength and foot strength and calf strength, just so you're able to hold yourself in different positions in a balanced way. And then from there, you're able to be so much more grounded and present and nimble as a follow with that balance. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely understand that, man. I
Mhm.
definitely do, bro. Um, I, I guess let me ask you this, man. You've been dancing and teaching for quite a long time, man.
Mhm.
Um, what are some things that you learned from dancing that you're able to translate to your everyday life?
That's a good question. So I feel one of the things is just connecting with other human beings on the dance floor and being able to connect with human beings off the dance floor. And self awareness on the dance floor is the same thing as self awareness off the dance floor. Yeah. You can be self aware on an emotional level or a physical level or both. So I feel like dancing has really taught me to like be empathetic of other people and see where they're coming from and try to connect them to where they're at versus me trying to impose what I want to do or what I'm able to do, or meet each other halfway, and now we can kind of co-create something. Yeah, I feel like a lot of people are quick to like say, "Oh, well, she's not this and she's not that," or he doesn't do it like this, or he's doing that wrong. But just like in life, we're all coming from different backgrounds. Yeah. So if I'm dancing Kizomba, for example, with a person who has studied tango for 10 years, it's going to feel different.
Right,
So
right,
she's going
right.
to dance Kizomba with a tango accent.
Exactly.
Just like if I'm speaking to somebody who speaks English, but they grew up in India, she might have an Indian accent.
Exactly.
Is her Indian accent wrong? Yeah. The same thing with people coming from different cultural backgrounds and things like that. You know, if I dance with a follow who's done belly dance, she's going to move her hips a little different way. That's okay. And it's like, well, how can I incorporate that in the dance to also connect to where she's coming from, you know? Um, so yeah, just being open and more empathetic and accepting of people where they're coming from, and accepting everybody's coming from different walks of life. I would say that's one of the main things that I have learned for sure, just dancing with so many different people from all around the world, you know?
Yeah, I definitely understand. I agree with that too, man. It's something and as a lead, as someone we both dance with so many
Mm,
different people, man. You kind of everyone's different. You kind
For
of be able to
sure.
accept that. Yeah, man.
Hmm. And
Um,
people are where they're at in their journey, like, of course, we're not expecting everybody to be a pro dancer. People are going to have egos or think they're better than they are and all that kind of stuff. And that's just where they're at in their journey. You can help them, you can be gracious with them, but you don't have to like tear people down or shit on them or anything like that, unless they're like causing a big issue in the community. But everybody has to go through their journey and kind of earn their stripes and things like that. And we want to, and it's the same thing with ourselves. And obviously, we want the community to be gracious with us as we evolve and grow in the dancing.
yeah, man, definitely. For before we started talking, man, you told me that you actually had a dance cruise or something in the
Yes.
works. Tell me about that, man.
So again, going into the dance market and trying to like offer something different. The cruise is happening. It's going to be out of Miami into the Bahamas. We don't have the whole ship. It'll be a dream to have a whole
All
ship
right.
full of Kizomba dancers. However, it's really awesome to be able to offer that and just offer something different,
Yeah.
kind of like a getaway weekend. And I kind of like took that model from the Aventura Dance Cruise and see like, hey, but that's more Latin. So I wonder if there's space to where we can do that in the cruise aspect of things. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That's really the first like cruise I've heard of. Dance cruise was Adventura.
Hmm.
So yeah, I think it's really cool to do that, man. It's gonna be a big endeavor for you, but it's gonna be really cool, man, if you
For
pull that off
sure.
successfully.
Yeah, and just like seeing if there's a niche for
Oh
kizomberos
man, it definitely,
um,
definitely, man. I already know
on
that.
the cruise side. Yeah.
Oh man, definitely, right? I know that, man.
Hmm.
And I think you also told me you had a new dance partner. Is that right?
That is correct. So it's really interesting with my dance journey. You said I've been teaching a long time. I've done all this 5-year festival, um, traveling the world. One of the first full-time Kizoma instructors in North America, but I haven't really had a dance partner to stand by my side for different reasons. Yeah, um, and now I just started a dance partnership with Adriana, and we just finished our second weekend traveling together. We're in Columbus, and that went
Nice.
really, really well. And so I've been training her and grooming her, and she also has her dance background in ballet and contemporary. So we're like continuing to work together to see what we can kind of co-create as I expose her to the Kizomba culture. And this weekend will be in San Antonio and then Nanaimo, and then the rest of the year is also looking really nice as well. So yeah, we are really excited to get that going, and it's going to be exciting to see what the next 5 years look like with a dance partner. And I will say, despite everything that I've done, like the thing that makes me the happiest is teaching and dancing and being able to tap into that creativity. And obviously, having a permanent dance partner helps out with that.
Of course. Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah.
Also, if I'm 100% real with being an instructor, the best instruction that I've seen is when it's a tag team effort with the
Of
lead and the
course.
follow.
Of course. Yeah,
So,
yeah,
of
yeah.
course, like I get reviews and tons of positive reviews about my uh, teaching, but I know that I can do better with a partner by my side who can also speak to the follows
Of
and give
course.
the same amount of value from that end. Yeah, so I'm excited to do that as well. And yeah, I'm looking forward to another 5 years in the game, especially with the dance partner to start performing and have that going as well.
I definitely understand that, man. Yeah, I definitely do. And I mean, yes. I feel like when you have a partner, you both can focus on what you're best at. Maybe
Hmm.
instead of you
For sure.
having to try and be good at everything.
On both rows, yeah.
Right, right, right. So yeah,
Hmm.
that definitely helps, man. Um, I guess let me ask you only a couple more questions, man. I don't want to hold you up
Hmm.
for
For
too
sure.
long, man. But real quick, could you give me one tip that could make anyone a better dancer immediately?
One tip that can make anyone a better dancer immediately. I feel inspired to say to smile.
Okay, sure enough.
Um, I'm a very technical dancer. I can get in all the kind of technique and things like that. But if we're talking about partner dancing and just dancing with other people, I would love to see more smiles on the dance floor. And
Yeah.
if you're smiling, that's going to change your mood. That's going to change the way other people are reacting to you. And your practice will come, your technique will come, and all that kind of stuff. But like along that path of growth, um, have fun and be happy about it along the way. So that would be
Yeah.
my tip, to smile, as myself included. Like even when I watch some of my demos, sometimes I'm like, you got to smile more, Charles. So I'm trying to practice that advice as well.
No, that's a big one, man. Yeah, definitely. Like
Hmm.
you put that energy out there, man, and it's infectious, right? You know, everyone
Hmm.
gets that vibe, man. So I
For
definitely
sure.
understand
And
that.
if everybody's smiling on the dance floor and you're looking around and seeing other people smiling, then it just uplifts the whole room, you
It
know?
does, man. You're so right. It's so true, bro. It's so true,
Mhm.
man. Charles, and I really wanna thank you, man, for taking time out here to talk to me, man.
For sure. I commend you for starting the podcast. I
Yeah.
definitely feel like we need more of this kind of content online in the dance scene. As big as the dance scene is globally, I'm
Uh,
surprised we don't have like 10 podcasts out already from different dance genres, from blues to swing, to tango, to salsa, bachata, kizomba, zouk, cumbia. Like, I feel like people should be putting out their stories and sharing their inspirations, sharing their frustrations, sharing their challenges and things like that. Because when you take a look at um, other markets, for lack
Right.
of a better word, like the entrepreneurial market is like booming with
Exactly.
podcasts,
Right, right,
um,
right.
authors, and all kinds of things. So I feel like we definitely need more of this. So I commend you for that as well. I would like to have you on my podcast,
I would
and we
love
can
to,
just
man.
flip it and we can talk about your story as well.
I never been
Um,
interviewed, man, but I mean, I would like to do it, bro.
For sure. But yeah, it was awesome to be here on the podcast and share my story. And I hope somebody listens to it and they're inspired to either start their dance journey or stay in their dance journey or get ready to transition their dance journey to the next level. You know, like we're
Yeah,
all in
yeah.
this together while we're here, man.
Exactly. That's
Because
so true, man.
we're
Yeah.
not here forever.
Real quick, man. Charles, tell me, what are some of your upcoming events, man? What do you have going on in your life?
So, if you guys want to find out where I'm at, my website is neokizomba.com. There you can is where you can find my podcast. I'll be at the Big Salsa Festival this upcoming weekend in San Antonio. After that, I'll be traveling to British Columbia, West Coast Canada. In Nanaimo, I'll be teaching there. In August, I'll be teaching in Guadalajara. Um, in September, I'll be hosting a fusion event in Dallas, and um, there's also going to be an event in Dallas as well. That's for Kizomba. November might be a full month of me teaching in Boston for the Boston Kizomba Festival, and then Minneapolis for Baila May, to teaching in Cleveland, Ohio, to
Okay, okay.
teaching in Toronto. But yeah, all of that schedule I'm going to have updated on my website at neokizomba.com. You can follow me on Instagram at Mr. NeoKiz as well, and you'll be able to find me there and find these things that I'm talking about as well.
Okay, sure enough, man. Sure enough, man. Like I said, Charles, man, I really do appreciate it, man.
Hmm.
Yeah, bro. I said, any last words, anything before we close this out, man?
Um, I'm very grateful to be doing what I'm doing. I'm very grateful for my position in the Kizomba community. I'm very humbled by it, and I want to continue be able to add value and be an example of a thriving artist versus a starving artist. And I'm also like, I love Kizomba, but I'm not trying to force everybody to love Kizomba. Like, if you love Kizomba, that's cool. We can love Kizomba together. But whatever dance you're doing, tango, swing, salsa, bachata, um, do what makes you happy. Yeah. Not everybody is defined by their 9 to 5 job. So if you
Right.
find something that speaks to your soul, then definitely invest time in that, those happy moments and things like that. I'd rather travel than get more electronic doodads and or big screen TV and things like that. Me personally,
Right.
so it's just awesome to be able to meet people across different walks of life who also feel inspired to invest into the beautiful moments that we feel in dance. So
Yeah. Yeah,
I think
man.
that would be my last kind of just like a overwhelming feeling of gratitude that I would like to share for
Yeah.
everybody who's involved in whatever dance scene.
I want to say as well, man. I think like your stories can be inspirational, man. Because you're doing your passion. You're what you love to do, man. A
Hmm.
lot of people, including myself, would love to be doing their hobby or their passion as their full time
Hmm.
job, man. So
For
just to
sure.
hear about it can be so inspiring to people, man.
Yeah,
Thank you.
you just have to find a way to monetize it, and there's many ways to go about doing that. So, yeah, um, for people who are looking to do that, just take a look at entrepreneurs and see all the different ways they monetize their knowledge and the different products and services they offer, the way they market and promote themselves. And it's not an impossibility. Yeah, I think we should definitely have more people who are able to sustain themselves full time by adding value into the dance scene.
Right. That's what it's all about, man. It's really just giving value, right?
For sure.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I definitely understand that, man. So yeah, like I said, Charles, man, thank you so much, bro.
For sure. Thank you for having me. It was a blast to get to know you, and we'll set a date of when I can
I'm
interview
with it.
you.
I'm with it, bro. I'm with it, man. So yeah, Charles, thank you so much, man. Please enjoy the rest of your day. All right, man.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you too. You as well.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, so hey everyone. If you made it this far to the end of the video, I want to thank you so much for just watching this. I really hope that you found value in this. My whole goal in this endeavor is to give a voice to people, to dancers, and to give value to the dance community. So if I'm not giving value, it's kind of pointless. So I strongly urge you to please comment and let me know where I can improve, what I need to do better, what I'm doing wrong, and hopefully what I'm doing right, but my overall goal is I want to give content. I want to be helpful. So please let me know where I can improve upon. I'm new to all this, so I'm learning as I go. So I need like feedback. Please comment and just let me know how I can improve. I would greatly appreciate that. That means the world to me, just to be able to interact with you all, have a conversation with you, and just see what you like and what you don't like. That means the world to me. I love interacting with you all. It means so much to me. But yeah, thank you so much for making it this far into the video. I gotta say, please leave a like, subscribe. If you don't like it, then let me know why not. Hit the down like button, hit the unlike button. But thank you so much. I really do appreciate it.